Check, check. 1, 2. Check, check. Do I sound okay? Do I need a little more preamp? I need a little bit more preamp. Don't want too much. Don't want to hear the AC. Okay. She's a genuine gypsy. And I know she won't miss me. I just can't believe she took off with my squeegee. Oh, is there auto tune on there? No, I guess I'm just that in tune. Good morning. I just woke up. It is 7:43 a.m. So, this ought to be good. Woke up with a pretty good headache today. I think it's from eating so much salt, to be honest. Am I recording? Yup, we chillin'. But yeah, I think it's from eating so much salt. I asked ChatGPT yesterday, maybe it was a few days ago. I was like, hey, how do I make my face less fat? And it was like, okay, what's your body fat percentage? And I was like, because I know this because I did a GNC little in-body calculator thing. And it said 7.8. I'm like, all right, chat, I have 7.8 body fat. And chat says, okay, your face is not fat because that's pretty low. You probably just have a salt problem. I'm like, okay, what's a salt problem? And it's like, it means when you eat too much salt and you don't drink enough water, and your face retains a ton of water. So it looks fat, which explains my super chubby cheeks that I've been trying to get rid of since I was 6. No, that's not true. I've had them for a long time, but I have not been trying to get rid of them for very long. So, for the last few days, I've been trying to cut back on salt, and it says, I really am just taking ChatGPT's advice wholeheartedly. I'm like, what if it's wrong? What if chat's wrong? Oof. Well, then I have a lot of email prospects that I need to apologize to. I don't think it's wrong. I think it's pulling from the knowledge that it can find. But anyway, I woke up with a headache because I ate too much salt yesterday. I had Chipotle, and I came home, and I had a bunch of chips. Yeah, that's just too much. That's too much salt. So, anyway, this is why am I doing this again? I liked how raw the first one that I did was. And I liked how I was kind of just flushing out what I think. I think that's good for me, to just flush out what I think. And another cool part is I know nobody's watching this. So I can kind of say whatever I want. For better or for worse, this is kind of my talk through things thing. I went to a Chris Williamson show last night with a good friend of mine. Chris Williamson was here in Denver, and during his show, he talked about how he wishes he would lean on his friends more before he gets to the point where his burden is too heavy to carry alone, and then he has no choice but to lean on his friends to help him carry the burden. I think that's a hard thing to do. Because you don't want to be a burden to your friends. And he kept saying that your friends want to help. But I don't know. I don't know if they do. I guess I shouldn't speak for them like that, because if they came to me with some kind of thing, I would want to help them. You know? Yeah, I would want to help them. So I don't know. Maybe they do want to help. But oftentimes, he also talked about loneliness and how, I mean, excuse me. People who go to a Chris Williamson show on a Friday night, probably not your average people. Why do you go to a Chris Williamson show? Because you see better things in your future, and you want to hear from someone who has gotten to better things. That's why you go to a Chris Williamson show, because you want to hear what he has to say. He's obviously very successful. He works very hard. He's done a lot of things correctly, and he's learned from a lot of great people. Very smart. And so the reason you go to a show like that is to hope that a little bit of his magic will rub off on you. That's what you hope for. And yeah, I hope that it does. I hope that it does rub off a little bit. I heard it. Also, I definitely did just wake up. So, last time I ate beans for breakfast. This time I have a yogurt. So, we're getting better. That's the perks of not traveling all the time. What does that sound like? Perks of not traveling all the time is I can go to the grocery store. And so when I wake up in the morning, I have food, which is sick. Speaking of having food, I need to go to the grocery store. Yeah. But those every day for lunch, just because it's easy, I go to Trader Joe's and I get these little like frozen bowls kind of things, like a chicken teriyaki bowl or a chicken tikka masala bowl or a orange chicken bowl. That's a lot of chicken. Anyway, I go to Trader Joe's for all these things, and they're Chat GPT while we were talking about sodium. It was like, "What is your diet?" And I say I usually have one of those for lunch, and it's like, "Well, that's salt bomb. Probably shouldn't do that anymore." I'm like, ugh. Everything that tastes good has an insane amount of salt in it. Like, not to knock Firehouse Subs, because Firehouse Subs, very good. But it's probably because they have 3 times your daily amount of salt in a dang sandwich. I don't know if that's at the actual number, but I know that's it's definitely a lot of salt. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm not I'm not trying to eat very much salt. I would like to not, because one, it gives me a headache. Two, it makes my face puffy. And three, I know it's bad for me. You know what I learned this week? That the amount of salt that you should eat on a daily basis is 1 teaspoon. 1 teaspoon is a tiny little amount. I mean, I use a teaspoon of salt on each side of my steaks. So, there's a lifestyle change coming here soon. Yeah. So, what else do I want to talk about? What else is on my mind? Because that is kind of what this is. I just talk about what's on my mind. Yeah, why do I want to do this? Last time I sat down, I said I wanted to create order from chaos, which is very much correct. It is very much correct. That was rule 2 of 12 rules for life. I am currently on rule 3 because I'm a slow reader. And yeah. You ever feel like you have these plans to do something, and then you have it all laid out in your head? And you're like, okay, these are the things I'm going to say. This is how it's going to go. And then when it comes time for the thing, it just doesn't go as you planned. And then you just get in your head about that instead of being in the moment. Yeah. It's kind of crazy. Sometimes that happens to me on sales calls where I have all my questions prepared and they don't bite how I want them to bite. And so then I get in my head, and then the sales call goes downhill from there because I'm like, oh. I stopped paying attention to them and I started questioning me. Hello, doggy out there. I live on the 3rd floor, so I have a pretty decent view. That's a nice dog. And it snowed a couple days ago, so there's a bunch of snow and ice on the ground. And this guy was just walking his dog, and he was getting pulled across the street, taking tiny little steps, like, whoa, trying not to fall. Poor guy. Yeah. But sometimes things don't go how you want them to go. Case in point, 2 nights ago, 3 nights ago. I sat right here to record some vocals for a song that I'm pretty excited about. I'm kind of trying to model it after Fall For Me by Sleep Token, because I really like their acapella effect and like their vocoder effect on the vocals. And I love that song. And so I wanted to try something similar. And so 3 nights ago, I sat down and I started recording the vocals for this song that I had written. It's called January Gypsy. Sorry if that's politically incorrect. You gypsies. I don't care. Anyway, I sat down to record these vocals. And I start doing it. And when you're singing, you have to take these big breaths in between phrases. Kind of like that. And the problem, normally there's not a problem, but the problem with that was, there was, I had cooked a steak. And I had tried a new thing where I tried reverse searing it. So I cooked it in the oven for 250 degrees. At 250 degrees for like half an hour until it got to 120. And I pulled it out. And I had my cast iron skillet absolutely ripping hot. And I poured a little bit of avocado oil in it. And the minute I set the steak on it, even just for like 2 minutes, 2 minutes of like 45 to 60 seconds on this side, 45 to 60 seconds on this side, so much smoke is coming out. And it completely fills my apartment. It looks like I'm the biggest stoner in the world. It looks like I had Wiz Khalifa and Snoop Dogg over, and we just hotboxed the crap out of my apartment. But the problem is, it smells like smoke. By the way, my smoke alarm didn't go off. And it has gone off many times before. And that is by far the most smoke I've ever had in here. So, did it reach a threshold? I don't know. Anyway. Yeah. So, ripping hot, so much smoke. And it's like, I don't know, 20 degrees outside. So I open up all my windows and my patio door. It got in my bedroom because I accidentally left the door open. So I'm opening up my bedroom windows too. And all this smoke is not leaving. And so now it's like 40 degrees in my house. I had to turn off the heater because it was just running. It wasn't doing anything. So I'm wearing every piece of clothing that I own, trying to get this freaking smoke out of here. And so I've got towels. I'm like, it's not really working. Eventually, after like 20 minutes, when I'm freezing my butt off in this house, the smoke is more out than it was. Like, more has gone out than has stayed in. So I'm like, all right, I'm freezing. I'm just going to close up all the windows and doors. Whatever. And I turn the heater back on, and I get it to a decent temperature, and I'm like, all right. Now it's time to record some vocals. And so I come in here, and I sit right here, and I'm like, okay, there's not that much smoke anymore. So I stop thinking about it, and I just start thinking about recording this song. And as I'm singing and taking these breaths, that happens. That happens. And then it just develops into this crazy coughing fit. And then I'm like, I sat down. I gotta finish. No, you don't. Not when it's a ton of smoke like that. You don't have to finish, because I'm just breathing in an insane amount of smoke. avocado oil smoke. That can't be good for you. And it wasn't even getting me, like, feeling some type of way. It was just making me feel coffee, which was no fun. Yogurt bite. So, yeah, I wouldn't recommend making a steak right before you record vocals. Yeah, but I was being so stubborn. I was like, I'm just going to finish. Screw it. Keep it going. Full berries. I shouldn't have done that. Because, I mean, that cough, just right now, that is still from that. I've been kind of coughing ever since. Which is no good. So, that is my making a steak. Almost dying from smoke inhalation. Avocado oil smoke, to be specific. Yeah. Anyway. That's fun. I've got a date tomorrow. Today's Saturday. I got a coffee date tomorrow after church. We're going to Logan House Coffee, which there's one that's like right over there that I've been to, and it's pretty good. But we're going to the one in Lowry, which will be fun. Yeah, I've never been to that one, but she says she likes it, so I'm like, let's go. Let's see what kind of syrups they got there that they don't have here. Maybe they've got like avocado oil syrup, and I can be like, whoa, I'm not getting that. So yeah, I've got a date. Maybe I'll get her some avocado oil syrup so we can be in the same boat. And we can both just... Anyway. Yep. So, we're going. It's going to be fun. How did I meet this girl? I met her on Hinge. Which, I don't know if I'm proud of that. Feels like kind of a cop-out. For the last, 6 months... Last 6 months, I haven't had any dating apps, and it's been great because it's calm. If I meet somebody in real life that I like, I'll ask them out. Like, there was that waitress girl that I asked out. She was my waitress, and she was great. And so I asked her out, and she said yes. I don't know what it is. I think I got lonely. And I was like, meeting people in real life is slow. It's slow. And I'm ready to date somebody. You know? Like I'm ready to give somebody my whole heart. If that makes sense. So I broke down and I was like, all right. And let's get Hinge. So I've been talking to this girl, and she's really nice. I mean, I've only texted her and stuff, but she seems really nice. Girls always do this thing where you'll be having a conversation over text about one thing, and then all of a sudden, she'll answer your question and then hit enter a couple times and ask you another question, effectively splitting the conversation into two conversations. So now, in order to not be a jerk, I have to continue the first one, hit enter a couple times, and then answer the dang question. At one point, we had 3 conversations going at the same time. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like, why not give full berries to one of the conversations? I don't know. I guess that would make too much sense. But there's this girl at work that I asked. I was like, hey, you're a girl. Why do girls do this? And she's like, oh, it's because they have superior brains. I'm like, they have superior brains. So they can't focus on one thing at a time? And she's like, no, we can just multitask. And I'm like, that's not possible. Multitasking is not possible. You're constantly just switching from one thing to another. So your train of thought is messed up. Your focus is split. And you're giving like 10% to 10 different things. Because you can't give 100% to 10 things. Because you'll die. So anyway, I was like, what do I do about this? And the girl at work was like, hey, you know what'll really impress her? I'm like, if I answer all the questions and continue all the conversations. And she's like, yep. So it's been like 4 days now. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing her tomorrow. Really, so that we can have one conversation. I think it's going to be nice. It's going to be really nice. So nice. I'm really giving some ASMR, aren't I? With the yogurt and the water, the beans. I listened to it. That was too much. That was pretty gross. Well. Well. So that's what's going on. What else do I want to talk about? What else is on my mind? Let us see. I'm going to put out an album here soon. I haven't decided if it's going to be like... I haven't decided if I'm going to put it out in January or February. But album's going to be called Deaf by December. Deaf with an F. A couple of my friends thought it was Death by December. I'm like, goodness, how dark do you think I want to get? I'm not dark. I'm not a dark guy. Deaf by December. And I don't really know what that means yet, but I thought it sounded pretty cool. I don't know how I came up with it, really. I think what it was I was like, okay, I have all these songs that are just done and ready to go. How many do I have? I was like, I have 10. I was like, okay. Well, I need an intro and I need an outro. Just bookend the whole thing. Make it feel like one album. So I was like, okay, that makes it 12 songs. What else is 12? Oh, there are 12 months. So the first song is going to be called January Gypsy. Because that's sick. That also sounds pretty cool. She's a January gypsy. And I know she won't miss me. I just can't believe she took off with my squeegee. I think that's kind of a funny line. I have a line in there about cinnamon rolls, too. She'll take your mouse pad. She'll take your house cat. She'll take the things that keep you whole. She'll take your whole batch of cinnamon rolls. She'll take your nightlight. She'll leave you in the dark. Yeah. So, sometimes I crack myself up. So that's January Gypsy. And I was like, all right. Song 1, month 1, January. Song 2. It's not going to be about February. But I did put song 2 out in February. Last February, actually. Float Only. Maybe my favorite song I've ever made. I say that about all of them, though. So that one, yeah. Float Only is number 2. And then we have 3 through 11. And then it's going to be Deaf by December. Yeah. I still haven't written that one yet. I don't know what it means. I have this idea. I don't know if I'm going to use it or not. Where it's like, I don't even know how to contextualize this. If she starts screaming in September, I'll be deaf by December of this year. If she starts screaming in September, I'll be deaf by December of this year. I don't know. I also kind of want to make it like this big Euro EDM drop. But that doesn't really jive with the whole half screamo vocals that it's going to require. And I can't do that. I don't know what I'm thinking. I can't even sing. But I do. So, got that going for me. Yogurt bite. Sorry about that. Yeah. So, what else is going on? Yeah, I went to that Chris Williamson show last night, which was great. Today, right after this, I'm going to go to... I used to live with this nice old lady when I first moved to Colorado. When I decided I was going to move to Colorado, I accepted a job, and I was like, all right, I'll start in 3 weeks. 2.5 weeks went by, and I still didn't have a place to live. So I was like, all right, I guess I'm just going to go live in my car. But then my mom had a friend in Denver, and the friend's mom was like, I have a spare basement. We can rent it for as long as you need. I rented it for too long. I found out later. But that's who I'm going to see today. There's this nice old lady who let me rent her basement for a long time when I first moved to Colorado. And she's great. She needs some help putting up some Christmas decorations. So I'm going down there to put up some Christmas decorations. We're going to have lunch. And then I'm coming back. And then, oh yeah, tonight, I've got like Christmas gift giving something with my community group at church. What are we doing? There's like a giving tree where you pick a kid's name off of it and you get him like a $30 present, something like that. Stupid avocado oil. So you get him a present and then you dang. And then you wrap it and you put it back under the tree, I think. So that's what we're going to do tonight, which is going to be fun. Yeah. Huh. What else? What else is going on? I kind of wanted to... I took a lot of notes during... I took a lot of notes during the show last night. Because I was like... there are a lot of things worth remembering. And the first thing that I decided that was worth writing down. Chris Williamson quoted Rick from Rick and Morty. And I don't watch Rick and Morty, so I had never heard this. Maybe I'd heard it. I don't know. He said, "Your boos mean nothing. I've seen what makes you cheer." Whoa. Your boos mean nothing. I've seen what makes you cheer. That's big. First of all, that's a number, or that's a quite the way to analyze your audience, because you have to take yourself out of it. Because if you're standing up there and they're booing you, your first inclination is to feel the effect of the boos. But if you take a step back and you're like, what do these, if they're booing me, what makes them cheer? And I don't know the context that Rick was saying that in, but that's a pretty profound statement, especially as somebody who likes creating things. I like making things, and they're not always good, but I put them out anyway, because what's the point of not? If I'm going to make them, I might as well put them out, you know what I mean? And that opens you up to a lot of people. What I've found is that, and maybe it's true, people, when I put something out, they're like, that's cringe, dude. Don't do that. And I have a hard time with that, because I don't want to be the guy that just gets mad, that says, well, I'm putting something out. I'm putting myself out there. Why don't you try something instead of just criticizing? I don't want to be that guy that gets mad and says things like that. I want to be the guy that's like, your boos mean nothing. I guess, yeah. What does make people cheer? Good stuff. Oftentimes. So that sucks. But, yeah, I don't think it's always good stuff that makes them cheer. I mean, we cheer for the fall of an icon. We cheer for some pretty negative things happening. And so if they're going to cheer for a bad thing happening and boo the start of a potentially good thing happening, why would I care? You know? Your boos mean nothing. I've seen what makes you cheer. Boy. That's kind of crazy. Another thing that he said is the upside of never trying is never having to feel the pain of failure. I have friends like this. They get really comfortable and they're chilling. They I don't know if they felt some failure as a kid and they're like, I'm never doing that again because it was so horrible. But now I know people that just don't try. And because of that, they never have to feel the discomfort or the pain of things not going according to their plan because they don't have a plan, or of getting made fun of because people don't like what they do, or really anything like that. The upside of never trying is never having to feel the pain of failure. There is pain in failure, but it's quick. And the truth is, when you feel that pain, at least for the first time, I find this when I'm cold calling, especially. When I first started cold calling, I was like, I am terrified of this. I don't want to talk to people who don't want to talk to me. But then you realize after doing it for a little bit, you suck it up and you just make your first call. And then you're like, okay, that wasn't the worst thing in the world. And then you keep going. What you realize is you're not looking for the people that hang up on you. You're looking for the people that don't. You just have to weed through a bunch of people that do hang up on you. So, yeah, you can't be afraid to fail. I can't be afraid to fail. And oftentimes I am. And it just stops me in my boots. I'm like, I don't move. Because I'm like, I'm pretty comfortable right here. I don't really want to mess up the feng shui. I like it the way I've got it. But you got to mess up your feng shui. Sheng Fui. Got to turn that into Sheng Fui. So, that's a goal of mine. That's part of the reason I'm doing this, is because I'm not a good speaker. And I'm trying to get better. And feeling the pain of failure is often, the pain is self-doubt. And it's like, you shouldn't be doing this because you're bad at it. But I know that I have been good at it sometimes, because I know what it feels like to captivate a room and to tell a story really well. I don't do it all the time, but I know what it feels like to do that, because I have done it. And that's a great feeling. And I think as long as I try to do that thing, if I try to do that thing, my goal is to be a good storyteller and a good speaker. As long as I'm trying, then I'm on the right path. Trying is not succeeding. Trying is trying. I'm going to hit roadblocks. I'm going to fail. I can't be afraid of failing. I can't be afraid of failing. Because the next point that Chris Williamson brought up that I thought was worthy of writing down was, what would you tomorrow want you today to do? What would you tomorrow want you today to do? And I thought, yesterday when I got home, I was like, what would me tomorrow want me today to do? And I said, that's kind of got a cool little me today to do. Anyway, he would want me to go to bed early, like as soon as I got home, so that I could get up and do this before I go put up Christmas decorations. He'd want me to do this. And he would want me to not worry so much, because there are things that I worry about. He would want me to chill out, because all the things that I'm doing now are going to affect me tomorrow. And so on. So, what would you tomorrow want you today to do? That's a good question. I should start another one. today. What should I do today that tomorrow me would like that I did? Probably finish my yogurt. Consume a lot less content. Screen time down, which I'm already failing at because I'm looking at a screen right now. I find that the less of anything you consume, the more valuable the thing that you're consuming becomes. So yeah, it's hard. Because I'll come home and I'll just turn on the TV immediately. And I don't want to do that. Because when you turn on the TV immediately, you're constantly taking in information. You're taking in crap. That's all it is. It's just crap. You leave no room for your own thoughts, and you leave no room for the things that come your way that are actually meaningful. Because if you're taking in 4 or 5 hours of 6 probably hours of screen time a day of just passive entertainment, then it's not all going to stick. Probably none of it's going to stick. Yeah, number one, because you don't have to remember any of it. Number two, because there's so much of it, there's no way that you're going to remember any of it. The more of something there is, the less valuable it becomes. Dude. Mr. Sanchez would be real proud of me. That's AP Econ 101 right there. Mr. Sanchez always wore a lab coat, which was interesting. Anyway. Yeah, so that's a goal of mine, to stop all the screen time. Because it's not good for me. It's not good for me. I need to remember that. Yeah, also, I think that doing this right when I wake up, my back is sore. Wow, I had a good back workout yesterday. Oh my gosh. I did these little SCAP things. So like when you're doing, I think SCAP stands for scapula. I don't know. I just take what Athlean-X says as gospel. So I was doing this thing. I was on the lat pull down machine, and it says to do one, like just pull that. Just bring your shoulders down a little bit. Work your scaps. I was like, all right, I'll do that. And then do a rep. So I went like, that was to start. That was a crazy workout. Anyway, yes, my back is sore. But what I was going to say is that I really like the idea of doing this right when I wake up. Because then I've got nothing. I'm as blank a slate as I can be. If I'm as blank a slate as possible, I can find out what I really think. Because I don't always know that. I don't always know what I really think. Hello. She's walking outside with her little pooch. Hi. Man, I miss having a dog. ADD, anybody? Yeah. I really like the idea of doing this in the first thing in the morning. Like, I haven't consumed anything. It's been water and yogurt. I usually have between 1 and 200 milligrams of caffeine a day, which is, I don't know, a couple cups of coffee probably. But usually when I wake up, I've adjusted course. So I'm going to start with what I used to do. What I used to do is I would wake up. My alarm would be set for like 5 or 5:30. It would go off, say 5:30. Goes off at 5:30. I wake up for just a quick second. I grab the pre-workout that's on my nightstand that I've made the night before. Without even sitting up in bed, I chug it, slam it back down on the nightstand, go back to sleep. 20 minutes later, my next alarm goes off. It's 5:50. I wake up amped. I'm like, let's go! Sorry, neighbors. I wake up amped, and I'm like, all right. Now it's not even a struggle to get out of bed. Because I'm like, dude, I'm freaking ready to rip. Let's freaking go. So I get up, and I get dressed, and I go to the gym. I'm like, all right. And then I read somewhere that having a big blast of sugar as the first thing in your stomach leads you to be hypoglycemic. And I definitely have that sometimes. Because I'll just be out of nowhere. 10 a.m. rolls around. I'm like, holy cow. I'm shaking. I need to eat something. I'm so tired. And so I like down a whole thing of beef jerky or something like that. So what I've started doing now, go to bed half an hour earlier, set my alarm for half an hour earlier. Wake up at 5. Go get my yogurt. I'll sit there because it's full of protein. It's full of fat, which is a good thing to start your day with. Or so I've learned. And I eat my yogurt. And then I wait a little bit for it to kind of settle. And then I pound my pre-workout. And let me tell you, things have been a lot better since I started doing that. I don't get quite so glypohycemic. Yes, I know, I said that wrong. That was on purpose, is what I will say. So, yeah. That's what I've been doing. But the reason I really want to, well, yeah. I'm not doing any crazy pre-workout first thing in the morning. Now it's second thing in the morning, you know? So how did I get to that? Because I like the fact that I'm doing this first thing in the morning. Because sun's coming out, by the way. Ooh, that's bright. Yeah, I like the fact that I'm doing this first thing in the morning. Because I'm as blank a slate as possible. It's very raw. I mean, yeah, I put on a little bit of lotion this morning. And I put on clothes. But you're getting, like, this is as raw as it gets. I mean, this is me. Without any preparation. With puffy eyes and a puffy face. Immediately after waking up. So, I guess what I'm saying is, What am I saying? I'm saying that I like this. This is a good idea. And the reason I did my little pre-workout tangent there is because this is pre-caffeine during the day. So this is pre any kind of substance, whether it be caffeine or nicotine, because that's really all I use. Gosh, nicotine really just grabs hold of you, doesn't it? That's another thing that I wish I wouldn't rely on so much. I've been doing it more than I would care to admit. Even after I quit, I'm like, what? You idiot, what are you doing? So that's something that tomorrow me would be glad that I didn't do today. And that seems like a good place to wrap it up, because I'm about to get hit in the face with this crazy sun. So I might say goodbye. And today's Saturday. Tomorrow's the beginning of a brand new week. So let's have a great week. Yeah, let's have a great week. See you next time.